Okay, everyone, let's start off at the very beginning. Music interval theory is a little bit different, and that's what we're going to be applying to the guitar, intervals. And so in the normal music, you have scales and all this stuff. That can get pretty complicated, so I don't want to deal with that. I want to start off very simple. We have a system that's based on equal intervals. So it's 1 is a half step to all you guitar players out there. It's just one interval to us. It's a half step. It's just 1. If I was to play 1 on the guitar, this is what it sound like. I'd put a D here and a C sharp here, right? And it'd sound like this. That's a 1. It's actually a pretty sound. And 1s are a beautiful interval if you know how they work and if you apply their nature, because they have a great nature to them. And the simple demonstration is they like to resolve, okay? So 1s, it's pretty. And it resolves with, that's the bottom note, but it can resolve with the top note too. All right, so those are just a little bit of the nature of 1. Now, we have what we call position change. And position change is, I'm going to move this back just a little bit. Position change is basically where you take the two notes and switch positions. So in this case, in our 1, the 1 is on a lower string. And then, so the 1 interval to here. And if I take this note and put it up an octave, now I would have, right? And then I put this one, play it here. And so I would get, so this is the position change of this 1 interval. So on your guitar, you can practice this very simply. You just practice once, and then find this note, put it on a lower string, and then this note, and put it up an octave. So now you have. Okay, that's a 1. Now a 2, which would be a whole step to most of you guys, and be this sound. Okay, a 2 is a whole step. And now you ask yourself, okay, what's the position change of a 2? Well, just like 1s, what you do is you subtract the interval from 12. Because in an octave, there are 12 1s. So if I'm playing 1 here, I'm going to go to an 11. Okay? If I'm playing a 2, I'm going to go to a 10. Twos, 10s, 1s, 11s, 1s, 11s, 2 10s. Okay, so now, what does that mean? I just subtract from 12 every time. So what if I have a 3? Subtract it from 12, it's going to go to a 9. So we had the 1, we had the 2, now we have the 3. 3 goes to 9. Okay, and now what do you think 4 will be? 4 from 12 is 8, and so now you have. And 5 from 12 is 7. So if I have a 5, which is going to be this, that's going to go to this. And so on. And we'll go through this on the Sibelius file that I'm going to show you. So this is all going to be in a PDF and you'll be able to see it. So the thing about it is you always subtract from 12 and you get the position change of that interval. But that position change also gives you some secrets. It tells you that certain intervals like other intervals. Like, let's take a 3. Okay, here's a 3. And why is it a 3? Because from here to here is 3 intervals. Watch. 1, 2, 3. You could look at it as a minor third, but think of it in terms of just the number 3. That's a 3. 3 chromatics, 3 half steps, 3 chromatics. Just think of it as a 3. Because if you think of it as a third, you have to know the scales and all that sort of stuff, or the chord. It's the third of a chord, or forget that. We're just going to deal with intervals for now. So let me show you how that these can work very nicely when you put the position change with them. So here's a 1. That starts to sound pretty. There is no chord. It's just a 1 making a resolution. Okay, that sounded like I shifted. Well, I did. But I went to an 11. Ones. Like 11s. This is an 11. So I'm not in a chord or a scale. I'm in interval. And now I can move it around. These are all 11s. And I could go back to a 1 here. That's a 1. So I'm thinking in terms of 1s and 11s. Now, 2s and 10s work the same way. 2s have a little different nature than 1s. They also have a resolution because this is a 10. Let's start off with our 2 here. And let's go to the 10, which will be here. 10s like to resolve. They resolve to 9s or 8s. So from here to here is 10. And if I subtract 1, it's a 9. Right? You can hear that 10 interval likes that resolution. All right, so the 2 interval, this is a little because it's the PC of what we did up here, right? It's a PC of this. And so down here it's going to do this. And you can hear it's becoming musical already. And all we're doing is just doing the PC of the 2, okay? 2s and 10s. All right, so now if I look at that and I say, well, 2 is resolving. Okay, what's it resolving to? It resolves to a 3. Okay, but that's its own interval, right? And 3 has its own PC. That 3. So now I can reverse the resolution when I get there, because this is the 9, because 3s like 9s, right? So I'm including this as the passing tone now. And all of a sudden, you're making some music. Now that's just an interval. So this lesson is to get you to understand what position change is. It can be for more than two notes. I mean, you can have whole chords do a PC. But we're not talking about chords now. We're only talking about intervals. PC is a very broad subject because it applies to chords, it applies to clusters and voicings and all kinds of things. But in its basic, it's applying to an interval. And all you have to do is subtract from 12 to see what the PC of an interval is, okay? So let's look at this a little bit. What can we do with this? All right, well, I know that twos, if we want to do a composition in twos, we can do it. Okay, here's a 2 again. And here's the little resolution note. So this lesson is designed to teach you how to get these intervals working together. Because once you know that they like each other, you know that threes like nines. They like nines. Okay, the 9 shape of a 9 on the guitar is this. You're just skipping a string. So it's, and on this set of strings, it's the same shape. 9s on these strings are this shape, right? So you have 2 shapes for 9s. And you can just be in 9s. You use them to modulate to get to another key if you want. We're not in keys though. We're only in intervals. And so what happens if I apply 3s? Okay, and 3s go to 9s. And let's put bass notes under it just for fun and see what we have. Okay, so here's a 9. What if I go? That's a 3. 9, 3. Nine, 3, 9, 3. That's what you would practice. That's what you would practice. 9s going to 3s. And then you use your ears. So what happens when you do that is you start using your ears and you get a feel for which 9s you want to choose and which 3s. Because look, I can go from this 3 to this 9, right? or this 9, or this 9. I can go to 9s. Because why? Because 3s like 9s. This is magic information for guitar players because we think in terms of shapes. And so a 9 shape is just skipping a string. It's like this, bump, bump, right? On these sets of strings. And then when you go to here, it goes to this shape. And now you're using your ears. And so what happens when you think in terms of intervals, you're forced to use your ears because you're used to thinking maybe in terms of chords, 2-5-1, 3-6, 2-5-1, all this stuff. That's how everybody thinks. Okay, so everybody's going to sound similar. They're going to have. There was a guy I saw, guitar player, and he was right. He said, with 4 chords, I can play any song. Almost any song. And so he dared the audience, pick a song, Bridge Over Troubled Water. He played the song, 4 chords. Most songs are very simple. They're very simple chords. So this is lesson number 1. And we'll call it 1.1 probably because there's a few more things. Because ultimately what we want to be able to do is compose using the guitar and intervals, applying intervals to the guitar. Okay, so you'll end up with, if these guys. So you can go all over the place. I'm holding the guitar up so you can see it. It's a little bit awkward. But, so. Okay, now I'm on a 4. And what do 4s like? 4s like 8s. Oh, that's pretty. That's pretty. So you start seeing that these intervals become very musical. I want to point out something else. Diatonic music, which is key-oriented and scale-oriented, we include that. I'm not saying one is better than the other. This is in addition to. For example, if I want to look at this interval here, which is a 3, okay? And it depends on the root tone. If I put a G root, then it's the 3rd and the 5th, right? So it's 3rd and the 5th. I don't have to put the G root. I could put a C root in there. So, okay, and I could take the PC of this, and I could put it up here. And I could put all kinds of different roots in there. Back to G, if I want to go into chords, because all chords have intervals in them. And once you learn, for example, the 1 and the 11, okay, well, how many guitar players play this chord? This is an 11. And you could get another 11. And then your resolution, right? So it can be, that's an 11. Now, do they fit in chords? Yeah, they fit in chords. So you know what chords. This is an A dominant 13 chord. Has an 11 in it. Right? Okay, well, now here's an A with 9 plus, or a sharp 9. I just look at it as an 11, but so, and it's got two kind of funky intervals in it. So it's got 11 and it's got a 10. Put them together and you get, right? So you can have some fun with chords. And so if you already know a bunch of chords, all you got to do is know what happens with 11s and 1s. Because if I know 11s resolve, don't they? So they resolve both ways. So you can go both ways. So that's what lesson number 1, and this is the Music Interval Theory Academy main course material on how to use that, how to use it, okay? So that's the subject matter for intervals. It's PC, position change. You pick a note from 1 to 12, right? And subtract. So you pick an interval like 1, I subtract, it goes to 11. 2s go to 10s. 3s go to 9s. 4s go to 8s. 5s go to 7s. 6s, that's exactly halfway in an octave. 6s go to 6s. 6s are half an octave. And so if I'm in like a jazz thing, here's a 6. Right? 6s go to 6s. That's why this sounds good. Because I'm just going 6. And it's very interesting understanding the nature of intervals. So, and what about a 7? We went 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Now it's 7. But a 7 is a PC of a 5. So when you study 5s, you're going to learn 7s. It's half the effort. Once you understand 1s and 11s, you understand how they move, what their nature is, and all that sort of stuff. You're going to be knowing 2 intervals because they're connected. And then 2s and 10s, same thing. When you get to 5s and 6s, 5s have a 7. 6s from 12, that's a 6. That's why it's parallel. That's why it sounds good. And on the guitar, you'll hear 6s all the time. Now, I just did this for you. But a lot of guitar players will voice this like brass. So this note won't just stay there. It'll go like brass. So so there's a lot of things you can do. You don't have to do it that stiff. You can go, right? So you can put more than one note. That's what piano players do. And we do it on the guitar, but it's so much simpler because I'm just playing 6s. And those 6s fit in many, many places. They fit in many, many places, especially in the bebop and jazz worlds and that sort of stuff. You'll find all sorts of things. So we're going to start off with this lesson in PC. Understand PC, how it works. There is a PDF file that goes along with this lesson, and you can download the PDF file if you want. And you should contacting musicintervaltheory.academy anyway, just because there's a lot of lectures and stuff in this. These are free. If you want the PDF, go to the website and get the PDF. I'm sure Frank Herrlinger, who is my partner, he'll give it to you. But and it's in tablature, by the way. It's in tablature and notations, so you'll be able to see it or read it, whatever you do. The tab is pretty accurate because I hate it when tablature is just convenient, like, oh, well, there's an open G string, so the tablature will give you a 0. And I don't want to do that. I want my hand to be in the right place. Okay? So that's the lesson for today. This is lesson 1.1. We'll call it 1.1 because I'm not sure how much more I can give you on the guitar other than I can give you root cycles. And that'll probably be applying intervals to root cycles. And I don't want to confuse you. Just get PC now. Understand what PC is. And if you don't know what an interval is on the guitar, count. If I don't know what this interval is from here to here, count. And you start with 0, 0, 1, 2, 3, 4. It's a 4. What do 4s go to? 8. Okay? And 8s will have a shape, just like 9s have a shape. Here's the shape of an 8 on the top strings. On these two strings, top strings here, 8s, okay, they give you that sound. Here's a 9. Here's a 10. Here's an 11. Here's an 8. Here's a 9. Here's a 10. Here's an 11. It goes both ways. When you're thinking in terms of intervals, you have it from the bottom and the top, and that's how guys do such beautiful chord melody stuff. Guys like Ted Green and there's just beautiful chord melody guys out there. Ted's a little older guy now. Well, he's gone. He was a good friend, but there's a lot of young guys that are Ted Green enthusiasts, and for chord melody on the guitar, solo guitar playing, he's great. Ted knew a lot about intervals, and he learned it the hard way. The hard way is to sit, figure it out. What are these chord changes? What makes up the parts? And then you figure it out, and then you start trying to apply it. If you start with just the intervals, not the chords, then the chords will become easy. Oh, I see why that works. It works because it's a resolution of an interval or a reverse resolution. So that's all good. Thanks for hanging in, coming to the Water's Edge Studio A. This is Studio A. We have 3 studios in this place, Water's Edge. And we have genius composers working up in Studio B right now. The Music Interval Theory Academy is a place that you want to know about at least. And there's all sorts of great deals. So just watch for it. Just give us your email. And so you'll get the email, and you don't have to do anything, but you do have to think in terms of intervals. It's the new way for guitar players. It's definitely the new way. And Rick Beato is going to be figuring this out pretty soon. I love that guy. That guy's helped more guitar players than you can even say. So anyway, Rick, if you just happen to stumble on this and you like what I'm talking about, I'd love to come on your show. Okay? All right. So from Music Interval Theory Academy, the guitar course series, I'm TC. Thank you so much for spending this time and playing guitar. Thank you for loving the guitar enough to want to be in the forefront of the intervallic thinking on the guitar. Okay? We'll see you.